If you're wondering how you're going to turn your individual drawings into a plate of food, especially when you have drawn things that don't necessarily go together, the kebab is an easy way to do that. Now, the first thing I would do is I'd take a piece of paper and I'd use it to draw a line. Now, you could just draw a freehand line if you want to. This is an easy way to get a hand-drawn line, but draw a nice parallel line. See how when I've moved the piece of paper, I've kept it parallel. So it still looks hand-drawn, we'll just use the piece of paper as a guide. Now we're going to put objects onto that, so we need to think about it. If I look over at the kebab stick, at one end, look at the taper. I mentioned earlier on about an isosceles triangle. Just look at that long, thin triangle. So it's not a short, spiky end to it like a pencil. It's a long, narrowing point. So ignore my earlier line, ignore that one. And then at this end, on these ones, they look broken off. On these ones, they've got some kind of fancy bead-like feature. If you think about the profile of it, it's probably rounded. It's probably a circular, like a long cylinder shape. So you could draw a rounded end. You could equally draw the broken off end if you wanted to, or add a feature to it. Now, I'm going to look at my earlier drawings of the tomatoes and mushrooms. And I'm going to put the mushroom onto here first of all. So I'm actually going to think about the size of it relatively to the stick. Just started drawing a line. So I now need to think about the shape of that mushroom. Again, notice how rough this drawing is. I could turn my piece of paper around if I wanted to, so I'm using my reference material at the right angle. I'll put the tomato on now. I've just drawn one, so I'm not going to particularly look at it one because it's very familiar to me. So there's my tomato. I might put another ingredient on. I'm going back to look over here. Looks like a slice of sausage. And again, it's a bit like a cylinder. So you might see it as it goes through the actual object. It could be a piece of courgette. It doesn't really matter. It's something that's going through. You can see the stick in the centre there. So once I've got the structure going, I can then add on to it and build up. Now ultimately we're going to be drawing a plate of food, so you might want to think about other things that would go with a kebab, so it might be more items that would be on a barbecue. Do some research, have a look. I've continued to construct some kebabs. I've been looking at reference material and now I've started to draw a corn. I really regretted this as soon as I started it, but I realised if I followed the structure of these parallel lines, although the corns do twist, sometimes there's kind of like a slight S shape, that's obviously exaggerated. And now I'm looking at this, they are sort of offset like bricks almost. So once I've started drawing, I've actually quite enjoyed drawing it. You know, when you start something, you sometimes think, oh goodness me, what have I done? Now I'm starting to draw it, you can see I'm beginning to enjoy it. But if you think about in profile the corn, you've got the central core and then you've got the kernels around the outside like this. So from the front, you see the full-on profile, but from here, you only see a section of it. So as we move towards the side one, I will only see part of the profile of it, so I won't see the full edge. So in effect, these bands at the side will be becoming narrower. I'm going to continue just to draw those in, just to show you. And at this side, again, we need to think about the position where I'm offsetting. Now, on the corn reference material that I'm no longer looking at because it was on my phone, it had butter on it, so they were slightly lovely around the edge because the butter was running down them. This is what I mean again, that you only see the profile, you don't see the full corn kernel along the edge. So you're beginning to see the shape of it. You could draw the whole corn with the full shape if you wanted to. I've just started to draw a section, but now I'm deciding that it's actually quite a nice thing to draw. That's the corn again, and I'm now just beginning to build up some weight into the lines. I've talked about weight before. Weight is when you don't just draw an even line, you press and alter the weight. See how I'm going lighter and darker. You can draw some lines that are very light, like the underdrawing. You can draw some lines that are very clean and even. You can also add weight to the line. So if you now notice what I'm beginning to do down the side of this profile, I'm just beginning to build up. Now it seems odd that I'm just going down the profile line, but I can then soften and work that in. So you see how the actual line becomes visually a little bit more interesting.